Sergio Perez and Red Bull have officially parted ways, with Lawson taking his seat, and it looks like the Mexican driver is now without a seat at least until 2026, even though Horner stated that he will remain part of Red Bull's family with the finances and experience Perez brings to the table, meaning he's still considered as a hot piece on the market for certain teams. With this in mind, what's next for Perez, and did Red Bull make the right decision to replace him? One of the worst kept secrets has finally been revealed by Red Bull as they are parting ways with Perez amid a very poor performance from the six-time race winner. Obviously not winning a race in 2024 and leading just one lap throughout the entire season, despite the team opting to give him a new chassis in Brazil, has gone on to be one of the biggest reasons why the team needs to now focus on its future. And now Perez is also in a very difficult situation because there aren't many spots available in the following period in the sport. Nevertheless, Horner is adamant that it was Perez's choice to step down from the team, which we do find a bit hard to believe considering the statement of the Mexican driver that he does have a contract for 2025 and that if nothing changes from the shareholders' point of view, he will see the end of it. But it looks like they were ready to buy it out and make sure that they'll have a strong lineup from 2025 onwards. And when talking about the departure with Perez, Horner said, "It's been a culmination of things. Checo started the season so strongly, 4 podiums out of 5 races. It felt like he'd taken off where he left off last year, but then really from Monte Carlo, that race onwards, it has been a very tough year for him, and we've tried everything with him and supporting him, and basically he has come to his own conclusion that I think that now is the right time to step away from Formula 1 to take a bit of time out." However, Perez camp denies that they were the ones who wanted to get out of the Red Bull seat, and we can believe this more than what we can believe Horner because of the options that are in front of Perez right now. He can continue to be an ambassador for Red Bull in the American continent because his influence there is really strong, but if he's not part of full-time racing, then the popularity for the Mexican Grand Prix will drop massively, and there is a risk that we might not see it on the calendar in the foreseeable future. Therefore, it's pivotal for Red Bull to keep a good relationship with Perez because there is always something he can do in the background that is not related to driving on the track. The team understood its primary goal and the shareholders made sure that it will be respected. We need 2 drivers who are going to score high points from 2025 onwards, and Perez is just not cutting it. And we cannot mention America without mentioning Cadillac, who, while it seems like a bit of a far-fetched scenario for the Mexican driver because the development of events have led them in another direction, we cannot exclude it totally. Cadillac are a team who will be looking for a strong driver, one with race-winning experience to pair up with a youngster from their own academy, preferably Colton Herta. However, Perez caused around €5 million in damage to Red Bull this year only, and the fact that he had one of the fastest cars on the grid, the one with which his teammate won the championship, and he finished 8th in the Drivers' Championship, goes to show that maybe he's not ready to be the leader of the newbie team that is expecting to compete for wins from 2028 onwards with their own engines. But in this sport, we've seen many times that money talks, and when that happens, we tend to listen. Wherever Perez goes, he brings the backing of Carlos Slim and his companies Telmex and Telcel, which is another hole that Red Bull would have to fill now that they will most likely be taking their financial support out of the Austrian team. Nevertheless, Horner believes that Perez needs some time with his family, and in this statement we can find some truth because Perez himself said that he doesn't want to do this 24 race stint throughout the entire year while having a wife and 4 kids at home waiting for him. Elaborating on this, Horner said, "I think the thing for Checo is to take a bit of time out, spend it with his family. He has been on the treadmill for a long time now and works out whether he wants to keep going in Formula 1 or maybe look at other categories, maybe sports cars or something along those lines. But I think foremost and utmost, he needs to take some time out and see how much he misses driving a Grand Prix car, and then only he can decide what he wants for the future." Horner has been adamant that Lawson Lawson has been the better driver than Tsunoda to put in the seat, even though he has 11 races below his belt compared to the 4 years of experience that Tsunoda has. Nevertheless, the race pace and craft of Lawson is what has drawn Red Bull to sign him over Tsunoda. And when talking about it, Horner said, "It was very, very tight between Liam and Yuki. I mean, Yuki is a very fast driver. He's got 3 or 4 seasons of experience now. He did a very good job in the tyre test for us in Abu Dhabi, where the engineers were impressed with how he performed. But we just felt with Liam, when you look and go into the analytics of his race, pace was slightly better in the races that he did. His qualifying pace was very tight with Yuki, and you've got to assume that the potential with Liam, having only done 11 GPs, is only going to get better and stronger. He's shown real mental resilience and toughness. The engineers have enjoyed working with him through the running that he's done this year. He's got a good work ethic as well, so it's great to have Yuki still involved with Racing Bulls next year, and of course he is on standby should he ever be required." When talking about the successor of Perez in Red Bull, Horner continued to talk about what is the most important thing for Lawson: to not succumb under the pressure of having the most difficult job in the world, being Verstappen's teammate. Furthermore, Horner elaborated, "I think the key thing is not to put too much pressure on him and not to put too much pressure on himself that he's going out against the best driver of his generation. And I think that he just needs to almost ignore the data of what's going on in Car 1 and just focus with his own engineering team, what he's doing, and just do the best job that he can, and he'll be fine. And hopefully we can support him in that. Hopefully we'll be able to provide a car that suits him as well as Max next year, and we'll see how he goes." This is definitely not boding well for Tsunoda, who will have his first chance to prove that Red Bull are missing on something huge if Honda pulls some strings and manages to land him a seat in Aston Martin from 2026 onwards. The combination of Newey and Honda, as well as the arrivals of Cardile from Ferrari and Cowell from Mercedes, are speaking volumes about the project of Aston Martin, and whether or not Tsunoda will be a pivotal part of this project, time and Honda's persuasion will tell. Obviously, the situation is going to be very interesting to follow in the upcoming period, but one thing is for certain: Red Bull have decided to go down the right path, and keeping Perez for so long has only proven that the financial background behind it was just way too strong to be denied in front of the public. However, this is a team that brought some of the brightest talents in the world of Formula One, starting with Vettel, continuing with Ricciardo, and then ending with Verstappen. Of course, with Verstappen's future hanging in the air, as he said that the new regulations are going to bring a massive shake-up, and that will definitely lead to a situation in which he would have to rethink his future. What Red Bull needs is a driver who might have to be forced to be the leader of the team. From their actions, we can see that they view Lawson as their next leader or strong second driver, but time will tell whether they made the right decision. This is also interesting for the Racing Bulls team, because they will effectively see a new driver in their squad from 2025 onwards, and that is likely Isaac Hadjar, the Formula 2 Championship runner-up in 2024. Whether or not Tsunoda will prove his worth against Hadjar and add him to the blacklist, time will tell. All of these changes have made the Austrian team look a bit more serious, but with the promotion headed to Lawson's way rather than Tsunoda, do you think they've made a mistake by not promoting the more experienced driver on the grid? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in Sainz's latest shocking comments regarding Ferrari, make sure to check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.